Hi YouTube. Today I'm gonna have to do a little bit of something, which is to change this UPS's battery since the unit has basically gone completely limp. And the reality of the situation is that this is one of the cheaper units that you can buy, and it serves, for example, it sits on top of my fridge, and it powers like a small quad core Intel NUC, which takes care of some of my home network stuff, that kind of stuff like DNS, VPN, and a bunch of different other stuff. It also powers the router. So I'm gonna take this thing apart, and the primary reason that I'm fixing the battery on this unit myself is because when I went to the shop where they change the batteries on these units and all kinds of other units, they said that it would cost like something in the range of 50 to 60 bucks, and the battery for the unit itself would be like 20 bucks. And I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So yeah, today I'm gonna change the battery on this unit. This is the second battery change in like 6 years for this thing, about 6 years or so. I changed it once before, so now I kind of have like, now I'm kind of like expecting every 3 years or so to change the battery on this type of unit. And this one specifically is, let me just take a look. This one specifically is a Blue Walker, 230 volts, 60 hertz. That's what we have in the EU. The capacity is 800 volt amps, which is 480 watts. This unit is also kind of cool because it has RG45 pass through. It has a USB, there's a management software, and it has two standard EU plugs for whatever you want to plug into this thing. The unit is still warm from me just unplugging it like a few minutes ago. So despite that, I'm gonna just go ahead and take it apart and see to the battery change. There's also a large amount of leg hair, man leg hair, that is. So it is what it is, and if you cannot tolerate that, that's your problem, my guy. All right, so there's 4 screws on the bottom of this unit. So first things first, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to unscrew those. If we can even catch, that is, we should be able to. I didn't know this, actually. I had no clue about this. This unit, you can buy like a gel battery for this unit, and apparently the gel batteries aren't really meant for UPS purposes, because the standard lead acid batteries, basically like the battery in your car, are much more prone to rapidly servicing a lot of load, I guess is what I'm trying to say, than the gel batteries. The gel batteries apparently are intended to be primarily used in applications such as, for example, e-bikes or one of these scooters or whatever, because they are made to discharge a lot more slowly. The gel batteries have a much higher chance of catching on fire if you put a large load on them. I should have gotten maybe another screwdriver. All right, so we kind of have to do this and be careful because there's cables attached here. Turn that over, and there's the UPS. Now, if you have any intelligence to you whatsoever, you would avoid taking a screwdriver and just shoving it in this unit right here, or just, crossing the two terminals right here. And I will, if somebody ends up doing that, please send me the video, because I want to laugh at you and tell me what your hospital bill is, basically. The only thing that we have to do is unplug these two terminals and take the battery out, and then grab the other battery and put it back in. Okay, so first things first, unplug the battery. Don't short the terminals. Please be intelligent. If somebody tells me that this thing costs, like a battery change like this costs like 50 bucks, I'm like, nope, I'm gonna just do it myself. So we just take out the unit, this is not amazing. See this? Yeah, this is, see this lump here? Yikes. It's a good thing we're changing it. There, like this side is also severely lumped. And try not to penetrate the unit, because you know you're gonna be in for a bad time. Do we have any other damage? I mean, nope. Seems quite all right, actually. Except for this little part right here. This is a sketch, mega sketch. So the symptoms of this battery was basically the unit wouldn't hold at all. So if I were to turn off the mains, what would happen is essentially the UPS would try to turn on, and it would basically hold not even for half a second, even though the software said that this thing should be technically fine. But it, in fact, it instantly, when I do a software test, it instantly switches back to mains if mains is on, or it just shuts down. So whatever. Don't try to open these. You're gonna be in for a bad time. Just, you know, figure out where you can take this to a recycling center, drop it off at the recycling center. Don't try to fix this yourself. Please be intelligent. It's not a big deal to change a battery on one of these smaller units, because this is essentially consumer electronics, and it's kind of made for you to be able to operate on it. And you shouldn't have to, for a simple battery change like this, you shouldn't have to, you know, take it to a shop every time. But if you're not confident in what you're doing, even though this is pretty simple, just take it to the shop and, you know, don't worry about it. So yeah, I'm just gonna drop this unit down right here, and I've got the newer unit to take its place. I was borderline about to buy one of the gel batteries when I actually figured out that I need to buy a lead acid one. So these ones seem to be pretty cool. It's exactly the same spec, and I hope that this thing lasts for a little while. Now we just drop this thing in. Now, unfortunately, hold on here for a moment. So I was trying to tell you to, you know, don't put in your screwdriver in here where the electronics are, because you're gonna have a bad time. You know, don't put your fingers up these power delivery units. Just, you know, be thoughtful and careful and all of that, and you're gonna be just fine, my guy. So yeah, essentially the basics in electronics that you learn in school, which apparently either a lot of people skip school or I don't know what. Now usually it matters which terminal you plug in first, but I'm just not, you know, we don't care this much for a 12-volt battery. Just plug it in. Now this unit should have some charge. So yeah, just make sure to reassemble the thing back together properly. Hopefully properly is a good thing. Now the power went out a couple times, and this is how I actually discovered that the battery on the unit went bad. And even though you should care and you should plan to replace the battery, I really didn't, to be completely honest. So that's how I found out. Now, do most people really need a UPS at home? Well, it depends. I've got a lot of stuff running at home with a big server right here, and it kind of makes sense, you know, to, if I want that thing to be online constantly, then I guess it's a good idea to have a UPS for it. And if I want the gateway to it to be, you know, also online, then I guess a UPS is the right decision. Okay, screw this in. Don't over tighten the thing, because, you know, you're not going to war with it. I understand, but that, you know, people like things to be very tight. But, you know, this is cheap plastic, so it's probably gonna, there's always one that becomes a problem, you know. Oh, this is bad. There's something loose in there, and I bet it's the stop for that screw. Now, if it sounds like there's something loose inside of your UPS, I highly recommend that you take a look, because, you know, that's not good ever. So, you know, just have a look what it is. Try to take it out, not with your fingers, please. Don't be stupid. Try to shake it out. If you have to first take the battery out so you can shake the unit so you don't throw the battery out the unit and damage the battery, which you could risk a fire that way. I have to make some other videos, like for example, Llama Man has a new version with clustering and all that. But the reality is I've been so busy and I really want to make videos and I don't really always have the time to make videos. So, yikes. What is going on in here? Oh, yeah. The screw thingy is broken off. Probably maybe due to heat from, yeah, I mean, cheap plastic, as I said. Pretty cheap plastic. So let's turn this thing over. Yeah, both of these are broken off. Yeah, it's brittle. This is basically due to heat. You know, the plastic degrades over time, basically due to heat dissipation from the unit. So this is pretty normal. I mean, it's not a problem, but it is an annoyance. And probably this is why screws won't catch. But as long as we remember that, we're going to be fine. You know, the unit is still, it's kind of safe, but I have to put on a note there that, you know, the things are broken on it. So next time I don't try to grab it, you know, by the lid and it just drops due to the weight of the unit and shears off the other two screws. That would be a bad situation to deal with. Okay. You know, it is true when they say that you're going to be sorry for not making YouTube videos once you start first time. You're going to be sorry for not starting sooner. And even though, you know, my videos aren't really the best, it's kind of like, you know. Yeah, so this thing is not going to catch at all. I just want these two to catch. I have a massive soldering project back at my house, just sitting there waiting for me for over a year at this point. But it, you know, there's always something way more important. Maybe someday. Yeah, so I'm kind of losing all hope on this screw catching, even though it kind of feels that it might, but will it? Probably not. The thing is, you know, once the plastic is broken, there's nothing to hold this thing. So I might do like a little bit of a jank thing and zip tie this together. Probably not the best of ideas, but you know, I mean, the only problem is that these plastic thingies have sheared off. Other than that, the unit is fine. Let me just do a quick little test. Hello? Oh yeah. And there we go. Now we have like a battery installed in this thing. And if I put a load on it, I don't know what kind of load can I put on it right now. Probably my laptop, but this will make the situation with the wiring here crazy. So the plan is I'm just going to trust this thing and I'm going to go ahead and install it and see what happens after that. All right. So this is the UPS and currently it's on. It says that everything is fine and, you know, working normally, but we need to set the replacement date. Now in this, hold up, is this thing on? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry for blinding anybody. If we go and find how to replace the battery, runtime config, supplied power, power restore, bypass conditions, battery. Last replace date, set a replacement date. And today is 2nd of June. Okay. So I'm supposed to change this thing in like 3 years. Okay, let's do a runtime estimation start. And I just want to see what the load is on the thing. So the verdict is that it doesn't even consider the Intel NUC, you know, mini PC as load, which is, you know, this is the weirdest part. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of setting up the UPS. From now on, since that bulge thingy kind of like tripped me out a little bit, I'm just gonna start checking the battery on the UPS just annually, because nobody wants a fire at home or nasty chemical gas smells. If your battery is bulged out, that may be due to gas buildup. Make sure that it's not sitting somewhere in the sun or whatever, and don't try to poke it, don't try to squeeze it, don't play around with it, because it's not a nice toy to play with, and it can bite you. So yeah, pretty straightforward video. I hope it's useful to somebody out there. Like and subscribe. Live long and prosper, and peace out.